Did you know that India is called the pharmacy of the world? We supply roughly 20% of the global demand for generic medicines by volume. We produce 60% of the world's vaccines and meet 90% of the global demand for the measles vaccine. We are also a leading supplier to organizations like the UNICEF. We have built entire healthcare systems credited with life saving treatments such as HIV/AIDS medication and made them accessible to developing nations by producing them at a fraction of the cost of innovator drugs. And the antibiotics we produce are exported to over 200 countries. But in our own home, some of those life saving medicines are becoming far less reliable because we are under the impression that they will keep working. India is dangerously close to an antimicrobial resistance crisis. What does this mean? The bacteria that antibiotics are meant to kill are no longer affected by them. Why? Because repeated or improper use of antibiotics exposes bacteria to the drug without fully killing them, allowing the surviving ones to adapt and develop resistance over time. The Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation estimates that over 300,000 people in India have died every year since 1990 due to AMR. In 2021 alone, around 267,000 deaths were directly attributed to resistant infections. When you account for indirect impact, that number will cross a million. Think about that for a second. Drug resistance is showing up in tuberculosis, pneumonia, bloodstream infections, hospital-acquired infections. And this isn't limited to hospitals either. Antibiotics are used heavily in livestock and agriculture. Residues seep into water systems. Resistant bacteria move through food chains. And you might think this is a system failure. It's not. A lot of it is because of behavior. We have one of the highest rates of antibiotic use globally, and a lot of it is unnecessary, taken without prescription or for viral infections where they don't work. The problem is that bacteria don't forget. They adapt. Every unnecessary exposure is essentially a training session for them. What makes it genuinely scary is that there is no sudden breaking point. It's gradual. Treatments become a little less reliable each year, recovery takes longer, and medicines lose their most basic function: predictability. So, how do you fix this? The good news is that this is one of the rare large-scale health crises where individual behavior still matters. Finishing your antibiotics course, not self-medicating, not pushing your doctor for something stronger when it isn't needed, and not treating antibiotics like a default for every illness. It sounds basic because it is basic. But these small changes done at scale are what actually make a difference. See, antibiotics aren't going anywhere. Pharma companies aren't going to stop making drugs. So availability is never going to be a problem. But effectiveness of said drugs, that's something we need to think about. Because if we don't, we won't really notice until they stop working when we need them to.